is the psoas muscle comes from the inside of this hip bone and comes up to the outer parts of the 5 lumbar vertebrae here, and then it melds or becomes a different kind of a tissue, if you like. It comes from being a muscle to being a fascia, and that's the grey part on this model. And this is the spine covered with this fascia, and then that melds to become a muscle called the diaphragm. So if you've got a tight psoas, you've got a tight diaphragm. If you've got a tight diaphragm, you've got a tight psoas. So 3 in 1 helps the other. And you can see what we've got here is the esophagus coming through. So this is when you swallow your food, this is where the entrance to the stomach is. So again, if this is tight, that can give you heartburn, indigestion type problems. This is the aorta, that's the main artery from the heart. And so what you've got here is that can be strangled, that can affect it. This is the vena cava, which is the venous return to the heart, that can be affected. And it can affect the whole rib cage, where the liver sits on this side and the kidneys, the stomach sits on this side. So what's useful in this approach of maintenance is that you want the area under the rib cage to be free. So we put our fingers onto one side and we slouch, and then we're going to pull laterally and lean back. So we're patting our fingers like that and leaning back and just opening under that rib cage. That wants to be nice and free all the way around. We repeat it to the other side, and then we can go with our fingers and spread them into the interosseous, in between bone spaces. So we can go into these places, and what I do is I put my fingers there and make a fixed point and just turn from it a little bit. You can see that I'm just stretching it there, turning the other way, just basically opening them up as well. And then of course when you breathe, you want to laterally expand the lower part of the rib cage to mobilise the bottom of the lungs, and that gets good oxygen into the body as well, so that's important. Again, a good guide to diaphragmatic breathing is if you just put your fingers lightly in there and you take a deep breath in, push your fingers out. Whereas if I put my fingers in there and breathe upper respiratory, still no movement, deep breath, lateral expansion, pushing the fingers out. So it's a good guide to just put your fingers there and go, am I breathing from my diaphragm today? And that you know, the diaphragm is a muscle, and so it needs exercise. Now when the diaphragm goes up and down, which it does when we're breathing, that actually massages all your internal organs, and that's a big part of our digestive process. The process is called peristalsis. So that the tubes inside the digestive system, or small intestines, need to squeeze like this to make the food and digestion move along. And when we're breathing properly, that's all aided by this, and helps to mobilise all the other organs as well. So again, in the East, they have a concept that we need to be well in our organs, and if we're well in our organs, our muscular system is well. In the West, we go for the cosmetic look of strength, and that doesn't actually give us internal wellness. And as you get older, or you get an illness, you realise it's wellness you want, not fitness. So this is a wellness program. It's a wellness prevention or a maintenance, because you can maintain your corrections if you've had them, or you can prevent them. And that's why it's important to press these points, and if they're not tender, to still press them, because that means you're maintaining them well. That's very important. It's not something you do for 7 days, the pain goes away, and you put the book down. This is something that's going to become a daily discipline, and as you get older, you'll reap the benefits. This is an insurance that pays out. So that makes good sense there. Now I'll use the shoe ball presser as a stick. So I want to make those 5 movements to get my hand around. So vertical, horizontal, internally rotated, crossed over, pointing the other way. Now that's took me way past the midline that I want. So to get this and put it there, but the reason we're doing this is to make sure your tension coupled and you're working your shoulder right, taking it around the back, getting that good rotation on the spine, so that when we put the dibbler in, we can find the point and really either stimulate it or press. And if we use both hands, we can go to the bottom of the rib cage. There's the last rib. I can either use my fingers there, or put my fists there, and breathe so that they're moving. So I know I'm moving my last rib from the back as well. That's really useful. And then if I make a little modified fist like this, I can just support into there. That's really useful for waking up the kidneys. That's a good point to work.